Hello, everyone. Talk about a couple things real quick. I went by my coin dealers yesterday, and he told me that he may have a couple coins I might want. One of them was a trade dollar, and the other one was a bust half, probably capped bust. I don't have either one. Well, I have a trade dollar Holdroden, but I don't think this one has one. So I got to get there early tomorrow. But while looking around, I saw that Hero Bullion's listing the 2023 Cook Island, and it still has Queen Elizabeth on it for I think it's 359 over melt. It's 27 something, which is a pretty good price for a silver, 1 ounce coin these days. Because I mean, you go to anybody today and try to buy a buffalo. Generally speaking, the buffaloes at local shops, when I see them, they're wanting more than that for them. And when I bought this one in January of 2022, it was $28. Um, this one as well with the steam engine on it. But I want to get another Cook Island bounty coin. And the ships on these are, the design is just exceptional. It kind of looks like a reverse proof the way it's done. Very shiny on the ship. The background is very matte kind of finish, not real shiny. But we all know the Queen is now no longer with us, but her memory lives on these coins. So that's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It's going in to the coin shop in. Hello, Michael Bird. How you doing? Looking to going into the coin shop tomorrow with a little extra money and maybe getting me a capped bust $half, which I don't have one. I have a capped bust dime, but not a $half. Um, this peace dollar is not actually a real peace dollar. It's a magician stunt coin, but the design's kind of cool on this. It's just not silver, not worth much. But I did go live briefly earlier talking about these and how much you'd expect to pay for them. A couple standing Liberty quarters that the jeweler coin dealer guy found for me. Gave me a good price, so I went ahead and bought them. And the question on that video was, guess the price. And furthermore than that, if you go to a coin shop and they have a tray full of loose, messed up, heavily worn, nearly slick stuff like this, what price would you pay for it? Both of these are missing their date. And I know there are ways you can put stuff on the coin and maybe pull the date up, but these are worn so much on the edge, I don't think it would work. So, yeah, 27 something at Hero Bullion for a Cook Island bounty coin. They've been making these bounty coins for a little while now. They even make them in kilo. 1 kilo would be neat to have. It's a big piece, but only problem with kilo ones is you got to pay quite a bit right out of the bat to get them. And then if you ever want to sell it, it's might be harder to sell it just because it's so much silver at one time. Kilos over 32 ounces. Not much over, but it's 32 and change. Troy ounces. So it's quite a bit of silver to buy at one time. And those are 800 something. Most kilo bars and kilo rounds and all that stuff, or kilo coins from countries. Kilo ones are all 800-900 bucks range, somewhere around there right now. Now, if you could have bought some a few years ago when silver was much lower, then you probably could have got a good price then. Now, one silver coin I want to get is the Australian kangaroo round, which the kangaroo looks a little like the one on this penny here. This is copper, 1951. It's the last year that King George here would be on the coin. He died young, and then his daughter, Queen Elizabeth, went on to reign for 70 years. And now her son is king. Not real popular with the people, though, which isn't totally surprising. But anyway, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick up here because, like I said, I got to get to the coin shop early in the morning. So I'm going to get to sleep early tonight and try to wake up before 8 because he opens at 9 on Saturday and has all of his more coins than he usually has during the weekdays or any other day. So that's what I'm aiming to do. And I might even ask him if he's planning on getting Cook Island ones because he got these last year. He got like 5 or 6. I don't know how many he bought, but he bought some, and I ended up buying one because I thought the ship design was really cool. And other ship design coins, like the British halfpenny ones here. This is a 62, and it has the Golden Hind on here, which is Sir Francis Drake's ship. And then if you go to Portugal, Portuguese coins, you can get these with a Portuguese man of war ship on it. Now, this isn't silver, so it's not a valuable coin, but it's still neat looking. And these half pennies don't pay much for them because they're really not very valuable either. Even one like this that looks like it's not really seeing much circulation is not particularly valuable. So let's ask the question again. If you go to a coin shop and he's got standing Liberty quarters in a bucket or something, bowl, whatever, a bunch of them worn out pretty bad, but cheap, would you buy some? And if you would, what price would they have to be? Keep in mind the melt on these is, last I checked, was over $4. It's $4.30, I want to say. I mean, I can check real quick. Give me a second while I do that. $4.34 is the melt on a quarter right now. Now, granted, these are circulated more than that, so they're not quite as much silver in them as what they might have if they were barely circulated or somewhat circulated but not bad. The Barbados 1 cent with the trident. Trident on this is pretty cool. I quite like it. This is a Barbados coin from 1966-76, so it's a double date coin. Probably 10 years of independence or something, who knows. I didn't really look into it too much, but that's the question. Am I going to be able to get a trade dollar or perhaps a cap to bust $half tomorrow? Well, if it's not terribly expensive, I might do it. I'm going to take a little extra money just to be prepared in case he's got what I want, and I want to buy it for the price he has it for. Um, there's a Viking ship coin. It's kind of worn though, but it's 1941 copper, I guess. Um, Probably didn't make too many of these after that because World War II was going on and they got occupied, and I doubt they were making coins during occupation. But we liberated them in most of Western Europe after that. Another one that has what looks like a Viking ship on it. This is 50 escudos. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's a Portuguese coin too. Most Portuguese coins have this kind of symbol on them, which the middle looks like 5 dice on 5. So, who's all out there? Because I see it says 2 people are watching at the moment. Make a comment. And tell me what you think you'd buy one of these for, if heavily worn, of course. I know that if you go on eBay and try to order these, last time I looked, they were wanting $8 for them. I wouldn't pay that much for a dateless one that's worn out like this. I'd pay a lot less than that, but you wouldn't be able to get it from eBay because eBay is one of those kind of things that they list prices and then will you buy it for that price or will you not? Is basically what it is. Don't like to do the auction part. I like to do buy it now if I try to buy anything from eBay. And I've only really bought one thing from them and probably paid too much for it. Because what I bought from them, and we'll move a couple of these out of the way so you can kind of see them. It's 1 peso, 10% silver coins. These are almost the size of a silver dollar, but they only have 10%. On the edge, it says Independencia Libertad, which is kind of cool, but I don't know how well you'll be able to read. Well, that looks like you can read it. Independencia Libertad. They're 10% silver, so there's not much silver in them, but they are a sizable coin because they're only a little bit smaller than a Morgan dollar. And the 10% silver does ping like silver. It's just a little bit different tone, and it's a big enough coin you can kind of balance it on your finger and do a ring test. It rings for quite a while. Don't sound like 90%, but it does, 90% rings a long time. That's one way you can kind of tell your 90% is by the ring. One other example is you can take a piece of ice and lay it on the coin, and if it's small, it'll melt real fast. You can have a piece sitting on your table right next to it, and you can visually see it melt quickly. But these are interesting coins. I'd like to get more of them, but I don't. There's barely $1 worth of silver in them, even at today's prices. I mean, they're just. So it's not something you want to pay very much for. But I haven't seen any in stores locally, but the jeweler guy tells me he has some. He just has to find it. Of course, he's not sure even how much money he should charge for them because there's not much silver in them. Yeah, I think he has a few other Mexican silver coins too. I mean, if you buy one of the modern Libertads with the Liberty Angel statue, whatever the heck it's supposed to be on them, those are 1 ounce of 3/9 fine silver. They usually carry a little bit higher premiums than Buffaloes or Cook Islands type 1 ounce coins do. So if you can find one at about the same price as the Buffalo, maybe $1, $2 higher, then you probably should buy it. Libertad, that is. You know, you start going back into some of these more vintage type ones. Pessimistic 420. Hello, how you doing? Just talking about Silvertown, kind of a little bit of a vintage round because I think this is several years old. It's got toning on it, but the steam engine's cool. It's real cool looking. It's kind of a proof type design, really shiny. And I was just talking about the Cook Island Bounty. I just seen them listed on Hero Bullion for about somewhere around 350 over the spot price. They were 27 something, which is pretty cheap for a 1 ounce, not 3/9 fine silver coin. Most of them are a little bit higher than that nowadays. Of course, you go to buy Morgan dollars. This one's a 21, although the date's ground off. And if you haven't heard that story, the 21, they used to use these in Reno in slot machines. And they probably used other dollar coins like I coins, because in the 70s, around the mid 70s, this amount of silver was worth less than $1, the face value of the coin. It's only once silver started rising and inflation took the value of the dollar down a whole bunch that these started to become worth quite a bit more than $1. Even with the date gone, this is probably worth about $17 in melt. I wouldn't, with the date gone, I wouldn't pay much more than melt for it though. Maybe $1 or $2. I mean, if you go to APMEX and you try to buy a Morgan dollar and they got what they call Worsted Coal, and since the date's gone, they would probably throw this in that pile. Worsted Coal Morgan dollars, last I looked, said you could get them as little as $24.99 if you bought 500. Well, most people won't buy 500, but it's $26.99 to buy 1 to 20. And who knows how many of the Worsted Coal they even have? That's a good question because I don't know. I mean, APMEX is a big silver company, but Morgan dollars, there's only so many, and a lot of people have them in their collections. So how many they have at a place like APMEX, I couldn't tell you. But I do know that if it's got a hole drilled in it, or it's got a date gone, or it's worn really bad, $24.99 is still too much if you ask me. I did not pay that much for this. I think it was $23 when I bought it, but who knows? Since there's a couple people watching, we'll talk about that a little bit further. We'll move this Morgan dollar to the side. Because if you got what they call Worsted Coal type Morgan dollars, or just coal Morgan dollars, and in this, what I had in my tube here, which is for 1 ounce coins like these, would fit directly in them, but I'm putting these in there just because it's a big stack and they don't stand up on their own too well. If you get a super high stack of them, they start wanting to fall off the stack. Let's see, do I have that one handy? There it is. This is an example of one with a hole drilled in it. 1921. But when I bought it, he only asked $18, which I didn't think was too bad a price because, it does have a hole in it though. But peace dollars and Morgan dollars, this is just a straight 21 without the date being ground off and without much damage. To me, the 21 should be cheaper than any of the other ones, any of the older ones. you know, the like this 1878 here. If you have an 1878 Morgan dollar or any of the years after it up until 1904, I think any of them is probably preferable to the 21, just for the purpose of the fact that the 21 Morgan dollar, they made between the 3 mints that made them almost over 80 million. So they made a lot of them. Now, you go and buy any peace dollars at all that are worn pretty bad, like this 26 is, I wouldn't pay much for this one either. And I didn't. I might have paid 22 for it. But ones like these Morgan dollars that are worn pretty slick, if you can't get them for $20 or less, I probably wouldn't buy them. But just even unless the price of silver is a lot higher than it is right now, if it gets like $35 or something, somebody has some of these, I might consider buying them. But the value of one like this will just go up and down with the price of silver. This one is interesting in that it is an Orleans mint, at least. And, you know, the Orleans Mint closed in 1909. They haven't made coins there since. Now that's a museum today, but if you want to see video and pictures from the outside of it, I believe A.G. Stacker 1776 has got a video or two he took when he went down there. But anyway, that's my thing about Morgan dollars and peace dollars that are coal or worse than coal. If they're worse than coal, then don't pay a whole lot for them. And if they're damaged pretty bad, like this peace dollar, if a start of a hole drilled into it that I guess they found out their bit wasn't really sharp enough, or they just lost interest in drilling it. Or maybe they started drilling, someone saw them do it and said, why are you doing that? That's stupid. This is a 22, very common year for the peace dollars, so it's not particularly valuable either. But I like silver dollars, and ones this kind of shape, you know, they're not really worth a whole lot. So don't pay much over melt for them, is what I'm saying. And if you do see them, pull up Coinflation on your cell phone and see what the melt value on a Morgan dollar or peace dollar is on that day. That's the same amount, same weight in silver, or should be. And then use that to just determine how much you're willing to pay. If it says the melt on them is $17.50 and the guy wants $5 for them, I'd probably say, well, I want a better coin, better shaped coin for that price. Or if I'm going to spend that much, I'm going to buy a better shaped coin and spend more even. Let's see. One thing to sort of compare on these. This one in the back is a 21. This one's a 20 or 1878. That one you can see the little bumps along the edge. I'm just trying to see if they're the same size. Because the thing about the 21, when they made them, they were going to make peace dollars, but the design wasn't ready. So they had to make 21s. The problem with that was they went looking for the dies and they couldn't find any. So someone had to remake the dies from an old peace dollar and try, or not peace dollar, but an old Morgan dollar and try to make it look as close to the original as they could. And it's a little different because of the way they made it. The details are a little bit different. The way it looks is a little different and everything. So the 21, very common Morgan dollar. All the other years, the Morgan dollars, a lot of them are pretty common too, but there are a few years where they're pretty low. And that would be 93, 94, and 95. Oh, a Sacagawea dollar. Well, this one isn't Sacagawea, but So one of the presidential dollars. It'd be the same size as this one. And this one looks like it's antique because this collar is weird. They don't normally look like this. But there is a Sacagawea era coin apparently. It has the presidential dollar back on it. I don't know how it happened. They struck a few by accident. That particular one's a little bit valuable. Now, buried in the ground for years and metal detected found it won't be real valuable, but it is a valuable coin otherwise. I don't remember what the guy, I saw a video for him. The guy was talking about them and said they're valuable because it's a rare error. They didn't make very many mistakes like that. Usually, error coins sometimes caught before they ever get out of the mint and taken out of circulation. But sometimes a few get by because they, when they're making quarters or dimes or something, let's say they make, I don't know how many they're making of each one of these new quarters here, but 100 million maybe. I don't even know. I mean, some of the state quarters made 300 or 400 million for each, P and D mint. So it's like a few error ones got out, and one of the most interesting one is the Kansas one. They had a little grease in the die problem, and where it says "In God We Trust" on those, which you can't tell so much on this one because it's over here, but it says "In God We Rust" because the T got filled in with grease or something, and it just didn't strike through. It struck and pretty much looks like it doesn't have it. So that's a one to look for. And the other thing to look for in these later year state quarters, the 2019, 2020 ones, are the West Point Mint. I've only seen a few of them. I only have one, but I've never seen one change, and that's what I'm looking for. And if you do find one, it's a $8 or $9 coin, at least. The better it looks, the better, the more valuable it will be. These generally probably came straight from the mint, straight to the bank, and straight to, people's pockets. And then I got it, and right from, somebody changed drawer, got several of them. So this one's seen almost nowhere, although there are a few dings on it, which is probably the case with most of these. It's just a quarter, and they're not real worried about making them perfect unless you buy the proof set ones. Then they'll generally have higher quality strike and look to them, and they'll be shinier and all that stuff. But anyway, I've got to go. I hope that y'all have a good night, and might live stream briefly tomorrow, before any of the New Year's celebrations happen. Don't expect that if I live stream late that I'll get very many people watching. So I'm going to have to do it earlier, maybe around 7. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.